Hello and welcome back to Game Vitamins. My name is Nick, and if you know me, you know that I am a seller on TCGPlayer, building up a Magic the Gathering business from the ground up. Now, as a person who does just that, I wanted to talk a little bit about the latest releases coming out. And no, I'm not going to be talking about Duskmourn. You just know I like having stuff on my desk, so it doesn't feel so empty. But they did have Commander decks, collector boosters, and play boosters. And that is symbolic of Aetherdrift's releases, which I obviously do not have my hands on, but I want to go over as a seller where I believe we can find the most value, products to avoid, products to buy, a little bit of general speculation where I think things are going with these releases, and yeah, just a little bit of that. Instead of cracking packs and open them up on the camera here, I want to go over whether or not we should even get to that point. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. We will start by talking about Innistrad Remastered and then move on to Aetherdrift. Not sure who's a fan of which. Let me know what your preference is in the comments below, and you will hear my opinions in just a few minutes. Okay, so as an evil reseller, what is my opinion on buying new sets and new releases to flip them on the internet? Now, it might be different than you would initially think, and that is because I am all about finding value, not just getting something because it's new and shiny. I do like the look of Innistrad Remastered, and I did place orders for both sets. But again, this video is focused around where I believe we can find the most value if you're looking to buy and potentially resell and maybe make a few dollars along the way. So in regards to Innistrad Remastered, let's talk about that first. They just have collector boosters and play boosters. Now, you know my opinions on collector boosters. Some people don't necessarily agree with them, but to me, the collector booster is a cool item. People do enjoy opening these up and looking for that serialized card and getting those really nice pulls. But what I've noticed from browsing the internet and watching videos, as anyone in this niche does, is that collector boxes, they have me feeling a little bit mixed. And that's because, in general, a lot of the value that everyone gets really hyped up around is based on a very small amount of cards. And the problem with that is, obviously, if there's a ton of them in print and people are pulling an Emrakul and a Meat Hook Massacre and an Edgar Markov in every single box, what does that do to the underlying value? Yes, it's cool to open one up, it's fun, but at the end of the day, will the prices hold up? Or will they have reprinted certain cards so much that it won't be able to support the value of the boxes as they stand right now? So when you watch these videos online, for anyone who has access to them a little bit earlier, who's opening them up on YouTube and showing current prices, it looks like the collector box might be the way to go, that you'd come out positive a couple $100 on a case, well, on each box in a case of Innistrad Remastered. But to me, it seems like those numbers are just so volatile because you're banking on such a small number of products within the product. Cards. Banking on cards. So that is my take on collector boosters. I don't think that is where the value will lie. I did buy some of them. I want to have my foot in the door on every single release, but is that where I think I'm going to walk away with some extra money in my pocket? I don't necessarily think so. I believe the collector boosters are for fun, they're for show. Maybe down the line as they get ripped through and we actually see what the extent of printing truly is, then and only then will the market shake out to really understand where these things will be sitting. So I don't believe collector boosters are where you want to go if you're trying to seek value. If you want to have the fun of opening one, maybe get a pack, maybe you'll get lucky. But to me, it's not something that I would bank on. So that brings me to the play boosters. So as you know, if you've seen this channel, I am big on finding EV spreads across play boosters, draft boosters, different sealed product, opening that up, breaking it down to its parts, and starting there, building up a singles business first and foremost. So that's what I do pretty much every day. In my free time, I'll break open some boxes that I know have positive EV that I've gotten at good prices, get those added to my inventory. And now that I'm in direct, it kind of just flies off the shelf. So it's actually hard to stay fully stocked on certain cards. And especially once the card sorter comes in and I can sift through commons, uncommons, as well as build custom products for eBay, I'm holding off on that until that comes in because just the amount of time it's going to take if I do it manually. Anyway, beside the point, I believe that in general, the play booster offers a lot more opportunity despite it not having like the really cool, flashy things. The Innistrad Remastered play boosters, again, I don't personally know where those are going to lie. I heard that, clear, it's a remastered set. There's a lot of reprints. They tried taking the angle of a lot of retro frames. Does that hold up? Does that add extra value? I don't know. Again, I bought a couple cases of it because I personally, I like having a very wide inventory base. As you guys know, anyone who's been watching my channel from the beginning knows that I'm huge on just having some cards from pretty much every single set in the past couple of years in my inventory, because then if somebody's going around and trying to shop for cards and I happen to have that pair of cards that they're looking for, I'll be the one that gets that sale. So I do like having inventory just to have it, but does that mean I'm going to be profiting on that inventory, especially on a new release? Not necessarily. So play boosters on Innistrad Remastered. Again, I don't know where it'll land in terms of everything coming out of them. People focus on cracking open the collector boosters. It's way flashier. It's cooler to watch on YouTube. But I think if you're going to be running a singles business, the advice I would have is if you want to have a wide inventory base, even if you just pick up one play booster to scan every single card, commons, uncommons, rares, mythics, everything, at least it will give you that many more opportunities of potential combos across card pairings. And the market will slowly flesh that out over time in terms of what pairs well and what, in terms of like card synergies. And, if you have it, you just have that many more opportunities to combine cards for future sales. And that helps a lot when you have a higher floor price, from what I have discovered personally. So play boosters, I am more bullish on than the collector boosters right now. Again, I'm just really, really nervous that they are going to shoot themselves in the foot in terms of value. Luckily, I guess it was a tight print run and no one could get their hands on it. So maybe that'll just inherently prop it up. But I'm not a gambler, so I like to have conviction in all of my decisions before I go in big on some set. So that is my thought on, in general, Innistrad Remastered. I almost wanted to say Duskmourn, and it probably doesn't help me that I have these sitting here. So that's kind of it, I suppose, in regard to that release. I want to talk more about Aetherdrift. It is so controversial. The trailer was bad. If Karlov Manor was the worst release last year, they're lining. I'm hoping this will be the worst of this year, and they kind of line those up right at the same time, first release of the year. But what did we come to find out with Karlov Manor? There was actually some really good hidden value in there. So Aetherdrift, will it be received well? I'm not 100% sure. I mean, the trailer kind of killed it for me. I'm not a huge fan of mounts and vehicles. I think there could still be some potential. When I watched their 15-minute breakdown of that release, it made it sound more interesting, but they really could have hooked you a lot better than whatever the heck they put out there. But nonetheless, it's the game we enjoy. It's the game we love. So I'm going to try it. I did put in for a couple cases of collectors, a couple cases of play boosters, and in this case, they are bringing out 2 commander decks. So representing 2 over here, Duskmourn. I don't know. This is going to just confuse people after a while. But I did place quite a few orders on commander decks. So my thought process with Aetherdrift, first from a reseller's perspective, is that it's not been that hyped up. And in general, I think the online sentiment isn't that great. But sometimes those are the ones that can surprise you, especially over the longer term. So the way I look at it is I wanted to focus mostly on commander boxes, commander decks, because there's been a recent push towards commander decks, in general, across a couple different releases where there's been a really big spread on the EV to what you could buy them for. Presumably that is dropping quick on a lot of these sets, especially like Bloomborough. Now it's no surprise. Rudy talked about it too, so I might as well say I went in pretty heavy on Bloomborough commander decks, but the EVs are dropping pretty fast because I think everybody started jumping on them. They had a reprint, but I'm going to sit on some of those. The thing with commander decks that I like, especially for new releases, and that's where I started. That's where I figure it's the best place for most new people to start because you know exactly what you're getting. And there's no variation from box to box. And Wizards does a good job at making sure they provide at least like a 2.5 times multiple of value to the box price. So right now they're $32.50. Best case, you get something like an Endless Punishment that has $130 worth of value in there that people really love. I don't think either of those decks will be an Endless Punishment or, an Eldrazi deck or anything like that squirreled away. But I do believe that there's a higher probability of profit on commander decks over the long term because the initial flash of all of the cards is going to tank the prices, but once those stabilize, you know exactly what you have. And at worst case, commander decks never really seem to sell for less than what their release price was because they do inch closer to the expected value. So clearly, because you know exactly what you're getting. So they're going to naturally cost close to what the value of each single card is going to be in there. So that is my main focus for Aetherdrift and future releases in 2025. I want to go in bigger on commander decks, not necessarily jump the gun and just try to dump the cards, but have them on hand in case you get one that was $32. You buy four different decks, say they were all $32.50 each, and then one of them takes off and is worth $150. Okay, well now you could just sell the sealed box. You don't even need to break it down because people know exactly what they're getting. Or you can go about it in terms of, some of the other ones I have on the ground here are cheap to buy, but they still have $20, $30 of premium. And when you have them in your inventory, it's a lot easier to update the numbers as well because it's just however many commander boxes you got times that card. I don't know why I keep saying commander boxes. I think it's just because I mainly talk about play and collector. But anyway, I think that that's a good angle. I think a lot of people watching this who end up following that, I don't know. I mean, there's only so much out there. We'll see how the market shakes out. I don't think I can push my views that far where it will affect the market. So that's what I'm looking at right now. I went in on the play boosters for Aetherdrift as well. You can get those at some pretty good prices. I mean, if you can get them at $100 and get a slight discount on that as well through a credit card, a couple percent back, you're looking at less than $100 a box again, which it just hasn't happened since, 2023. So, I mean, if you're able to get some of these boxes, I don't think it's a bad move because, again, the way I look at it is risk reward, right? I mean, if I see Innistrad Remastered collector boosters going for $330 each, what is the upper cap on that box? Odds are, in my opinion, there's a higher probability that we will see a decline in price on those collector boxes, or the percentage increase would not be enough to justify the amount of money you would tie up. So say a Innistrad box goes from $330 to $400. Okay, cool, it went up 20%. But if you can get Aetherdrift collector boxes for less than $200, which you can, it's an interesting market where even though if that goes up 20%, you're at $240, your return on it doesn't feel for the average consumer. Sorry, I'm really trying to figure out how to word this. So the average person buying a collector box, right, is very price sensitive unless they are a pure investor. So somebody going out into the market who just wants a collector box is less apt to pay $500. At that point, you're only really selling to collectors and the market opportunities tighten up. Whereas if you have a cheaper collector box that's being sold to mass amounts of people that just want it to open it, and this applies for future releases as well, you have a much better chance at getting that 20% return on your money on a lower value item, in my opinion. I'm not saying this is gospel, that this is exactly how it works, but in general, the price sensitivity of consumers, especially in a hobby like this, is very important, especially for a newer release if you're trying to make money on it. I should have said this earlier on, but if you made it this far, hopefully that all makes sense and it is a valuable point for you. So, collector boosters, Aetherdrift, more bullish than the ones in Innistrad Remastered. Commander decks, I'd say for somebody just getting started, that is always probably the best place to start. Find spreads on commander decks, you know what you're getting. And then play boosters, in terms of Aetherdrift, we don't know where the set's going to land. Again, you look at a Karlov Manor. People hated it. It tanked. It sold off. The value inside those boxes is driving it back up. It's not because it's a great set. It's because there were a couple cards with great mechanics that, regardless of how weird the set was, it works well. And now that everything is standard legal, there's potential. So it opens up more than just, it opens up more opportunities. So those are my initial thoughts. What time do we got? Jeez, I don't know how I ramble this long about this kind of stuff. I'm taking all this Duskmourn down. I don't know what it is. It's kind of annoying me. Let's just put it below the desk. Let's have a clean slate to wrap this video up. The first two releases of 2025, both pretty controversial. Rudy said Innistrad, the sentiment isn't that hyped up. I think it is. I think a lot of people, everyone I talk to, is way more excited about Innistrad than Aetherdrift. That's the case. So, with that being said, the overhyped sets probably are the ones to avoid. If you're going to put money in, maybe take a look at something that is getting beaten down in the public eye. But as a final parting note, I think the best place to start is in products that have already seen how the market has reacted. So if you're going out and you're doing commander decks to start, go find ones that have been on the market since 2024 or longer and have good positive EV. You know exactly what you're going to get. Play boosters, I still think there's better opportunity in older product. New product is just a lot of variables. It's for LGSs to take risks on, to sell more sealed product. It's not necessarily our game to play other than to add extra inventory and maybe get a couple small wins. But I would not put all your money into new releases. That's just my opinion. My purchases into new releases are not even close to what, older, right? Last year. But it's seen the market. They know how the cards play. It has settled down. So that is my opinion. That is my take on new releases, buying into them, where I believe value is. And I guess that's it for now. We have a lot coming up for 2025. Let me just part by saying that I kind of do this in the end of every one of my videos, but I just want to tell you where I'm at, what I'm doing. I probably have like almost 100 commander decks coming in. We'll make a video about that. It's not just all Bloomborough. There's a mix. And then I have a ton of Modern Horizons. 3 coming in, like over 30 boxes. I think almost like 6 cases worth of it. Found some really good deals, bought out some stores. I kind of mentioned that in my last one. And yeah, the singles business is going great. Direct RIs are rolling in every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I'm going to do month ends going forward. So at the end of January, we are going to take a look at how many cards I sold, how much I sold them for, what my fee percentages were, everything. We will be an open book for now and just keep sharing what I'm learning, what's working, what's not working. Probably take you behind the scenes soon because the inventory is growing. I built some shelving over there. It's already full. It's kind of crazy. So thank you all so much for watching as always. I hope there was some level of insight here. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. As always, thank you to all the patrons. We have had an awesome time in Discord. And if you want to join and chat with everybody, link is in the description below. Anything else? I guess that's it. So we'll catch you all very soon. I have a lot inbound right now. I've just been busy keeping the head above water, breaking boxes down, and keeping inventory numbers up. So we have a lot more. We have a lot more to come. I think I've said that 3 times. Okay. Have a good day. We'll catch you in the next one.